So they counted you out. They dropped you and counted you out. He's not going to win. He's a loser. He's down on his luck, and we're going to keep him down there. You want to get revenge? Do you want to get real revenge? I'm going to tell you right now that the best revenge is success. Today, we're going to give you success stories, and we're going to tell you some ways that you can win by being successful. After this. You were a star child, let your light shine for all the world. When you open your mouth to reveal a pearl, let it shine more, just to light the path. If it don't add up, man, just do the math. If it ain't for you, let it pass on through.
I love Brotha T.
How you doing? This is Terrion Wilson, aka yo boy, Brotha T, here with another one. I'd like to thank you for coming to the New Life Tree, where we like to give you little pine cones of wisdom for your mental health. If you don't know what that is, stick around, stay on the channel, you'll get it. Today we're going to talk about getting your revenge. Remember, the greatest revenge is success. Let's give you some success stories. Let's start with a young man that you know as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wanted to be a pro football player. He had that dream since he was a young lad. Now, he was the son of a pretty famous wrestler, Rocky Johnson, and he was the grandson of Peter Maivia, I think his name was, and he was even bigger than his father. So he came from a really rich wrestling tradition, but his dream was to someday become a pro football player. He even had dreams of making the NFL. He played college football at the University of Miami. Pretty good player. Played behind some future NFL Hall of Famers too. So that affected some of his playing time, but we'll talk about that later. But he was good enough to go pro, just not in the NFL. He actually got to the CFL, which is the Canadian Football League. He played for the Calgary Stampeders. Now, he had problems getting on the field. This is one thing that happens to people. This is not always because of just talent, right? Sometimes the coach you're just not a good fit for the team, or maybe your skill set just doesn't fit what they're trying to do with their offense or defense. So every now and then you get people that just don't fit somewhere, right? So Calgary ended up cutting them. Wow, they cut him. What a loser, right? Man, get out of here, you bum. So, you know why I'm laughing. So, they released him. He goes home. He had no choice. He had to go home to recoup. He went home and he was, riding around with $7 in his pocket. That's all he had left. Grown man, right?
I got cut from Canada. My dad, in his pickup truck, came down 4 o'clock in the morning, picked me up in Miami from Tampa. We lived in a little apartment in Tampa. He drove down in his little pickup truck to Miami to get me when I was cut from the CFL. And I thought, well, I leave home like you guys left home. I'm ready to tackle the world, to get after it, achieve my dreams and goals. Crushed by 22, 23 years old. Now I got to move back in with my mom and dad. So I pulled out my wallet. I thought, well, let me see how much money I have. I opened it up. I had a 5, a 1, and change. Well, at least I rounded up to $7. But I thought, God, ain't this a bitch? I got $7 in my pocket. Where the f do I go now?
Down on his luck. He's falling into depression. His dream is just going away. Now, that was the greatest time for, well, that was the opportune time for some just to give up. I give up. I'm just going to get this little mediocre job, and I'm just going to do this and do that. Did he do that? No. What happened? Remember, he got a little bit lucky. Sometimes life isn't always just, what you do and what you don't do. Sometimes you got to have the hands of fate and luck have to play a part sometimes. So what did he have on his side? He had a pretty famous father who was wrestling professionally, or at least you know, semi-professionally. Well, he was off and on, right? And then his grandfather was a legend. So he got a shot with the biggest wrestling organization in the world at the time, the WWF, which is now the WWE, of course. But he got a tryout, and people know that you don't just make it to that level. You actually have to have skill. You actually have to know what you're doing, and you have to, because Vince McMahon, especially at the time, he wanted to present the package a certain way. So if you didn't have that flair, if you didn't capture the audience, it didn't matter if you were a great wrestler. You had to have that thing, right? So he got to try out. He got in there. He did his thing, right? They liked him. They had him with kid gloves at first, but eventually he became one of, if not the biggest superstar while he was there. After that, we all know he became a mega movie star. Great job, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because you got your revenge on those Calgary Stampeders, right? The greatest success, or the greatest revenge, is success. And now he's mega successful. I bet you they'll take him on the team now. He'll probably go back and buy the team if he wanted to, right? Let's go to our next success story. Now, this one really hits home for me because I grew up a Detroit Lions fan. I know. You feel bad for me, right? We spent so many years just trying to have an okay team. We finally got to the point where we got this draft pick. His name was Matt Stafford. And he was pretty darn good, let me tell you. He had a lot of skills, a lot of this, a lot of that. And when he came to the team, I think we got him after the 0-16 year where we didn't win any games. So we lucked up, got the first pick, Matt Stafford, right? Everything's gonna be fine. You know, all you need is a good quarterback, right? And wrong. So here we go with Matt Stafford. People in the town were ripping him. Man, we can't get a win. We can't win with this guy. He's not the quarterback for here. He's not a franchise quarterback. They keep saying that he's so talented on these lists of top talented quarterbacks, but we don't see it. Man, we'll never win with him. You have to get him out of here. He has a losing record against good teams. He'll never win the big game. All this stuff they were saying, right? So I'm not going to give you the details of this next part, but a trade ended up happening, right, with Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. So we ended up swapping quarterbacks, right? We got Jared Goff and we sent Matt Stafford there. Get him out of here. You know, get him out of here. What does he do? He gets there instantly. You can see that they are a whole different team with him, right? Goes to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl. On the way to the Super Bowl, beats Brady head to head. There we go. He got his revenge. Once again, the greatest revenge is success. And he didn't get revenge on the Detroit Lions because they loved him, right? But even they eventually had to do something, because you can't sit there and waste away with the talent and stuff is just not meshing. He got revenge on the fans that were bad talking him. And trust me, I used to hear it. I'm telling you, I used to hear it, how terrible he was. Then he got to the Rams and all of a sudden he's a great quarterback again. So that's interesting. That's another story. Let's go to our very last story. And this one is not going to be sports related at all. So we're going to talk about Harlan David Sanders, right? This guy started many companies. He started many businesses. They all failed. He had business after business. He started an insurance company, well, worked at an insurance company. He started a boat company. He started a lamp manufacturer. He started a hotel. That hotel ended up burning to the ground, right? Wow. I mean, he kept going business after business after business. Even when he started going into the restaurant business, he had this secret recipe. Nobody wanted to mess with it. It got rejected over 1,000 times, right? He kept trying to push this recipe. Nobody would bite. Business after business, failure after failure. He was a failed businessman. People would say, hey, this guy's just, you know what I mean? He just fell in that business. He finally got a chain of restaurants up, franchised it, used the secret recipe that you know as Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? And then he sold the franchise. And I'm telling you, the greatest revenge is success. Why did I go through, instead of talking generally about it, why did I go through and give you the stories like I gave them to you? Because I want you to be motivated. I want you to know that if you fail at something, if somebody doesn't see you as good at something, that does not mean you cannot get up and be great at that thing later, or go into something else and be even greater. You have it inside of you to do great things. You have something great to add to the world. Don't look down on it. Don't poo-poo it. Do not underestimate what you can do. Just because one person is saying that, hey, you can't do this, or hey, we don't want you here, or hey, you don't fit in with this program over here, that does not mean that you can't still be a great person. Do not take rejection personally. Maybe you just don't fit in that certain organization. Maybe The Rock just didn't fit on that team, right? But he was a great fit on that WWF team. Maybe Matt Stafford didn't fit in with the Detroit Lions at the time, even though we really wanted him to, right? Maybe he just fit with the Rams. Maybe that just was the fit. Harlan Sanders, maybe he just didn't fit in with those other businesses. Maybe, just maybe, he took everything that he failed at with those businesses and applied it to the business that was successful. You don't know. So if you're trying to do something and you're unsuccessful at it, do not be discouraged, because there's always a tomorrow. There's always a situation where you can learn from your mistakes, improve, show up a better product, right? When you're starting a brand and you're refining a brand and getting it to the point where it's going to be at its pinnacle, you have to adjust along the way. You have to stay up with current things in whatever field you're going in, whatever industry. So stay trending up, right? Stay ever evolving, right? And you all also want to take the lessons. Take the things that you do wrong, get rid of them. Take the things that you do right, add more of that. And that's how you build a successful brand. Trust is important, and consistency, integrity. There we go. So this is your man, Terrion Wilson. Thanks for stopping through. And remember, for the last time, the greatest revenge is what? What? Success. Get out there, be successful. Peace.